3 things I like about this camera, Nikon Zfc, and 3 things I don't. Hi everybody, I'm ST and I have Nikon Zfc here with me. So right away you can see that this is a retro style camera. Some people like this style, some people don't like this style. If you don't like this style, then this camera is not for you right away. If you do like this style, is it the right camera for you? Maybe. I'm gonna start with 3 things that I do like about this camera, and then I'm gonna give you 3 things that I don't. First thing that I like about this camera is how small and light it is. It is very compact and you can take it traveling, you can take it on a trip, and it won't take up much space. Without the lens, it is so small you can fit it in your pocket, not your skinny jeans pocket, but a pocket like a jacket pocket or even your sweats pocket or whatever you are wearing. And it'll fit in your pocket without the lens. Some bigger pockets will hold this camera even with a smaller lens. That's a great thing if you're traveling and you only want to take pictures of your friends and family or yourself or whatever. And this camera is small enough to do all that and to not take up a lot of space in your baggage. The second thing I like about this camera, and I do have a love-hate or like-dislike relationship with this one, but I do like it more than I dislike it, so I'll give it a like, is the fully articulating screen. Now, usually on some cameras, the fully articulating screen doesn't make any sense, and some people dislike this, but on this camera, I think it's a good thing to have because 2 things you can do with these fully articulating screens is, one, it's good for YouTube videos. So if you're into making YouTube videos, you can use this camera to make YouTube videos. I'm filming right now on the ZF and I'm using the fully articulating screen to frame myself. Now the second thing that it's good about this is that when you do take it traveling on your trip, vacation with your family, you can do what? Well, you can take selfies. Now, I'm not talking about selfies, bathroom selfies and stuff like that, but you can have your friends or your family, your kids, your wife, girlfriend, friend, mom, dad, whoever with you, and you can both take photos with the background. Maybe it's a beach or whatever it is, this nice city, and you can take selfies. You can also film yourself, so video on your favorite trip, on your vacation, and you're filming yourself with your family. So that's a nice thing to have, this fully articulating screen on this particular camera. And the third thing that I like about this camera is what's inside. And that's the image quality. This camera, for being so small, has great image quality, and I even use it professionally still. I'll use this camera sometimes over the ZF because I have a 50mm macro lens, and on the ZF, that's a little bit too wide and it distorts the image if you go too close to the product, which sometimes I have to. So I will actually use this camera to take some product shots because it becomes a 75mm. The image quality is great, and it does have 4K and it does have 1080p 120 frames per second, so you can get that slow motion. So everything inside is pretty good, even though the camera is pretty small and looks pretty inexpensive, or should I say cheap, which leads me to the first thing that I don't like about this camera, and that is the build quality. This camera feels very cheap. It is very cheaply made. This is some kind of plastic. This is some kind of plastic. This is some kind of plastic. And when you open this, this feels very cheap as well. And these dials, while there's a nice click to them, they feel very plasticky, even though the retro look is fine, but this isn't a collectible. This isn't a retro camera that you can collect. Another thing that bothers me is this solution here for the ISO dial. you have to press and hold this button right here, the lock button. You have to press and hold it in order to turn the ISO dial. And I don't understand why Nikon did it like that. It's not like that on the ZF. You can just turn it like this. And so if you're shooting like this, you have to press and hold, and it feels very unnatural and awkward. If you just gave me this camera to hold and I didn't know what was inside, and you asked me, how much do you think this camera is worth? How much do you think it cost? I would say 350 Canadian dollars. I understand there's some value inside, but this leads me to the next point that I don't like about this camera, and that is the price. I think this camera is super overpriced. I think maybe if they brought down the price to $1,000 Canadian just for the body, it would kind of make sense. Right now it's $1,200 on sale, and regular price is $13, I believe, maybe even more than that, I don't remember. But $1,200 for this toy is not that great. The stuff inside is good, but there's better cameras for less money right now on the market from other brands. And yes, it's a retro camera, but again, it's not a collectible camera. So would I recommend this camera? I would only recommend this camera if you can find it for cheaper, if you can find a good discount, $1,000 Canadian equivalent, whatever your currency in your country is, but $1,000 Canadian equivalent or less. If it's more than that, I would not buy this camera myself. Again, when I bought it blind. So I would recommend it if it's $1,000 or less, but I would not recommend it if it's more than that. Go with the Z30 or the Z50, or save some more money and go with the ZF or Nikon Z6. So please subscribe and let me know in the comments what you think about this camera if you have it, and I'll see you in the next video.